Welcome back to Bet with the Boys.
What is up, y'all?
Today, Wednesday, May the 25th, we got 4 bets today, actually. 2 player props in the NBA, 2 MLB games. A lot of value here. I like the picks today. We are on a, 13-3 run?
13-4.
13-4 run. Please like and subscribe. We're helping y'all out make money. I feel great about today's picks.
Yeah, we did damage our record a little bit yesterday. We were 1-2. We split the MLB picks. We had the Dodgers and Nationals going over, which they did.
Cashed that in like the second inning.
Yeah, and then we had the under in the Red Sox White Sox, 7.5, and that went over. They gave up 4 runs in the first inning, and it was bad news from there.
And then we had crazy Looney Tooney going over 20.5 PRA. This clown played like 19 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. Kaminga definitely stole his
stats and minutes.
Yeah, both of them.
So please like and subscribe. We're helping y'all out, like we said. Starting it out, we'll start with the NBA picks today. We got Al Horford as our number 1 pick, over 8.5 rebounds. There's a lot of value here. I know the whole Robert Williams game time decision thing. I think that's why the lines moved a little bit. But Al Horford's a veteran. He's been here before. He's been playing great. We're taking him over 8.5 rebounds. I think the last 2 games he went well over. Do y'all remember what he had in those 2?
Yeah, 14 and 13 rebounds.
14 and 13. And I like that here. We're going to take it. It's minus 135 odds.
And even with Robert Williams, they both played last game and they both started. So he's not cutting into Al Horford's minutes. He's really cutting into Grant Williams' minutes.
If y'all saw the series before when Al Horford went up against the Bucks, he was rebounding against Giannis and still putting up these numbers. So it tells me he's a dominant rebounder. He's going to get them tonight.
Yeah, playoff Al Horford is no joke.
Yeah, second pick of the day, we're staying with that same game, 8:30. 8:30. We're taking Kyle Lowry under his PRA. It's 18.5. That's minus 105 odds. And Lowry is a game time decision. We expect him to play, and he has not gone over this PRA yet.
Yeah.
18.5.
Yeah. The closest he got was when he scored, I think, 11 points. Still went under. So he's not been getting, the points the rebounds and assists to match up. And that was the closest. A lot of times he's somewhere around 9, 10 PRA, not playing. So he's really struggled these last 15 games.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry reminds me of the modern day James Harden. He is falling off his horse, and he's living off his reputation at this point. Lowry's just that hamstring, he's not even really playing. He looks bad when he's on the court. We're taking his 18.5 till he proves us otherwise on his PRA. So minus 105 odds, same time, 8:30 game. And that's it for the NBA.
Yeah, moving on to the MLB, we have the Padres Moneyline versus the Brewers. We have Yu Darvish pitching against Aaron Ashby. So Yu Darvish pitched 7 innings his last game, gave up 0 runs. He started off the year terrible. First game, he had a 10.57 ERA, and he's whittled that down every game. He's gotten into the 3s now. He's at a 3.9. But while a 3.9 looks a little high, it's actually not, being that he started so high. He's actually been pitching very well. Then Aaron Ashby has only pitched 28 innings this entire season. So in 9 games, he actually had a save last game where he only pitched 1 inning. So he's not used to pitching these big, long stretches of innings. And that's why I think the Padres will win this game money line.
Yep. And there is also a 50% MLB boost on DraftKings. That's what we use. So either use that for this game on the Padres money line. I think Padres money line is minus 140, minus 145. That would bring that to right at plus
103.
Yeah, plus 103 odds. Or you can use it on this next game we're about to tell you. It's the Rangers versus the Angels, over 8.5. That one is minus 120 odds, 9:30 game.
Yeah. Personally, I used it on this game, and I love the over in this game. 8.5. That's a low total for these 2.
Correct. So that's the 4 best bets today.
Yeah, just a quick recap. Recap. We got the Padres money line versus the Brewers. Al Horford over 8.5 rebounds. The Rangers versus Angels over 8.5 runs. And Kyle Lowry under 18.5 PRA.
Kyle Lowry does play for the Miami Heat, for y'all that don't know, and then Al Horford plays for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
So that wraps it up for the picks portion of this episode. And we're going to do our little podcast here, so if you're just here for the picks, you can sign off. But if you're here for the podcast, stick around. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button.
So some of the picks that we kind of considered, but we couldn't all come to agreement on, we got Marcus Smart over his 22.5 PRA. Now, we're kind of wondering whether Smart's going to be out there on the court or not tonight. And if he's playing, I would personally love to take 22.5.
Yeah, he's a game time decision. Didn't want to throw this out here and have the same thing that happened to us last video where he ended up not playing. But his points, rebounds, and assists have come down 3 points. They were at 25.5. Now they're at 22.5. I'm not really sure if he's on a minutes restriction either. So we ultimately couldn't pull the trigger on this. But I took it as a personal bet. This is just a lean, not an official pick.
Yeah, I think it worked out perfectly for Smart. He got an extra 2 days to rest his ankle by not playing last game, and they won by 20, so it didn't affect them in the series. And this ankle is not a serious injury, being that he was able to play on it after he got hurt, but it swelled up, as ankles do if you guys have ever had an ankle injury. But with 4 days of rest, I think he should be ready to go.
Yeah, I think so too, being the type of guy he is. He's tough and wants to play.
Yeah.
So next up, I got a question for you guys. Who are y'all going with tonight? Heat or the Celtics? They got on paper right now, the line just moved. Celtics -2.5. Started out at -1.5. Now it's moved to -2.5. Personally, I'm leaning toward the Heat. I think they continue to dominate at home. But what do you guys think?
You go first, Shane.
I think even though the Heat are at home, you got Tyler Hero, who might not play tonight. I don't think he'll be out there on the court. I took the Celtics -2. I caught that line in between what he was saying, -1.5 and -2.5. I caught it at -2. And I think the Celtics will take this game.
Yeah, the Heat have only won 3 quarters in this entire series. They won the 4th quarter last game when they were already getting blown out, and the Celtics didn't have their, starters in. And then the other 2 quarters that they won were big enough swings to win them the game. So the 2 quarters they won, they dominated. But in the 2 losses for the Celtics, they averaged, I think, 23 turnovers. I know they had 23 last game 3, and 19 of them were steals. So when they win, in their 2 wins, they've only averaged 10.5 turnovers and only gave up 8 points off those turnovers. So if Boston can keep the turnovers down, that's pretty much the key to victory for them. So I think the Boston Celtics are going to win this game and win this series eventually. But
yeah, there's a lot to be said about the injuries in this game. It makes it more of a toss-up, which is why we stayed off. But speaking of the steals, I want to bounce off what he said with the turnovers and stuff. I was looking at an interesting player prop in Jimmy Butler. 1.5 steals here. I took the over 1.5. I know he didn't have any last game, but they're back at home where Boston struggled to take care of the basketball. Jimmy Butler's great defensive player. Yeah, I think the 1.5 steals here, he's going to cash that tonight. I took it, sprinkled a little bit on there. That's a lean for me. And also, Jimmy Butler's rebounds, 6.5. He seems to be able to go in there and get rebounds when the game matters the most. Game 5 here at home, in a must-win situation, protect their home floor. I think Jimmy Butler cashes that 6.5 rebounds tonight as well. So, you guys have any thoughts on that?
yeah, he's always the type of player who will stick his nose in there and try to get rebounds and steals. But Boston, I just think they're going to take care of the ball tonight. If you told me the Heat would win, I would say guaranteed Jimmy Butler 1.5 steals. But I'm just not sure. I'm leaning Boston on this one.
At some point, I think somebody's got to steal a road win. And it could be tonight. Celtics, I'm pulling for the Heat. I'm a little biased here, but that's why we couldn't pull the trigger. So.
Yeah, I think on the steals, a lot of the times it's, the offense could make a bad pass and it's kind of more luck.
Which we saw a
now,
lot of.
I know Jimmy Butler's a great defensive player, but steals can be more luck, so I don't want to place a bet on luck, what I think's luck,
Just a bad pass?
Yeah.
I saw a lot of that in the game that Miami did win at home. I think it might have been game 2.
Yeah, they were at home in the first 2 games.
Oh, wait, it wasn't game 2. Who won the first one? Miami won the first. It was game 3?
Miami won game 1 and 3.
Okay, it must have been game 3 when Boston was just turning the ball over carelessly. kind of run together at this point.
Yeah, they did
but-
have 23 turnovers
Yeah.
in Game 3. 19 of them were steals. So
Yeah.
a lot of them were forced turnovers,
Yeah.
not like charges and stuff like that.
So the last thing I want to say about the NBA, I do have a lean in the hockey game tonight, in the hockey playoffs, but Horford, over 1.5 blocks. I saw this at plus 125 odds. Last game, he had 4 blocks. The game before that, he had 3. I saw a little meme about him looking like the defensive player of the year in the playoffs. So I sprinkled a little bit on that, over 1.5 blocks. But the return to Robert Williams scared me away from that. If he plays more of the center role tonight, Horford would probably be pushed that 4 and might not get these. So that's why I laid off, but I'm taking that as a personal bet myself.
How do you all feel about the over 204 in this Celtics Heat game? Personally, I watched the first 3 go over, and then the last game I think was 102 to 89.
82, 102, 82.
102 82?
Yeah.
I personally took the over 204 in this game, just going off the trend here. But they did not agree with me, so we ain't placing that bet out for the channel.
It is a tricky one. You want to go? Because the Heat only had 11 points in the first quarter, and the starters only had 18 total points for the Heat. So I think that game was kind of an anomaly. But the Boston Celtics also played bad. They shot under 40% from the floor. I think like 20-something% from 3. They were awful. Jason Tatum was, I think, 2 for 7. Jaylen Brown was 1 for 8. They had a couple other guys shooting poorly from 3. Grant Williams was 1 for 5. So typically the 3-point shots that would go down, especially for the Celtics at home, weren't. So I could see it going over, but I just didn't feel strong enough to pull the trigger. I think both teams are great defensively. They're getting some pieces back. Marcus Smart and Jimmy Butler will be playing more minutes. So
Yeah, Grant Curry never goes 1 for 5.
yeah.
But that's just to wrap it up, the little podcast for the NBA. I would like to say in the NHL game tonight, I'm leaning toward the Blues and Avalanche under 6.5 total shots or total goals, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
I'm leaning toward that. Didn't pull the trigger on that one either. I think they tightened it up a little bit defensively. And you guys have anything about that?
Yeah, if you guys did stick around for the podcast, throw out which lean that you think is most likely to hit. So just give us your thoughts on that. I know somebody from the comments did take a lean we had yesterday in the under first half for the Mavericks Warriors game, which did hit.
Yep.
Yeah, that was an
That's
Aaron
his guy.
special. So
Ron Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
I took it
Wrong
too.
way.
I liked it there. We should have probably thrown it out for the channel. But that's why we're doing this little podcast. If y'all see any you like on these leans, feel free to take it. But it will not count on our record. We threw out our best 4. And that's what we're going with.
That's all for us, guys. We appreciate you sticking around if you did. And please like and subscribe. And we're on the way to 600.
Yup,
We need
600.
59 more.
We're
Throw out
gonna
another parlay.
Throw out another parlay, and hopefully hit that as well. So we're gonna get off here, but bet responsibly. Always bet with the boys, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
See you guys.